Indian Member of Parliament Dr. Shashi Tharoor says that India is committed to the territorial integrity and unity of Sri Lanka. Dr. Tharoor, who earlier served as the Under Secretary General for Communications and Public Information at the United Nations, is currently serving as a member of the Indian Lok Sabha. He made this statement during an exclusive interview with News First Chevaan Daniel.
To what extent is India's domestic framework, political framework, to what extent does it impact how India behaves with its neighbours?
It does impact, and not always in a good way. I mean, in one way you could argue in a good way, because of course we have a parliamentary democracy, and therefore policies that are explained to the people and that have buy-in from the political class have a certain enduring value. That is the strength of democracy. But we are also living in India in an era of coalition governance, where governments are deeply vulnerable to the whims and vicissitudes of coalition politics, of partners, of opponents as well as partners who may differ from you. So when an important coalition ally takes a position on a foreign policy issue, it certainly has some consequences. On Sri Lanka, I would say that the Indian view from Delhi is not greatly different from the view from Chennai in terms of what we'd like to see happen. When I say the view from Chennai, there are many views in Chennai, and I'm not referring to the extremist views. But I'm referring to the moderate mainstream position, which is that we are committed to the territorial integrity and unity of Sri Lanka. We want to see this as a flourishing, prosperous and pluralist country, but we want to feel that the Tamil people feel that they have a say in their own political destiny within Sri Lanka, that they have the political rights and autonomy that they crave, and that as a constituent part of the Sri Lankan nation, they have an honoured place.
But what are the imperatives that drive India to control China's advent into our region?
Well, frankly, we are doing similar things as well, and so we should. So the Chinese have a port in Myanmar, we are active in a port in Myanmar. The Chinese came into Hambantota here, but the truth is it was offered to India first. We couldn't get our act together enough, or did not gauge that it was worth doing, and so the Chinese did it. So how can we complain about the Chinese having one little pearl here in Sri Lanka when that pearl was offered to India first? I just don't feel that we are about to be choked by a string that is being pulled tight around our neck, as some American geostrategists have been suggesting.
Rahul Gandhi, he seems to have everything, he has it all, and yet he seems not to want any of it.
No, the fact is that Rahul Gandhi has chosen to focus on the party rather than on government. And he has built up the Youth Congress to a much more credible level than it ever had before his time, including through a process of transparent internal elections, which Youth Congress did not have before. And he has, in my view, he's done a good enough job there that he can now turn to government, but that's a view only he can take.